to AECF Uganda Launch in Kampala. My name is Edgar Isingoma, partner with KPMG East Africa, and I'm here to be your master of ceremony this morning. So thank you very much for making it so early, and thank you for honoring the invitation from AECF. I'd like just to give some short introduction that you already have. We'll have you for another 1 hour. We know how busy you are, and we don't want to keep you so much, but remaining on will be optional as the agenda. I'll invite, after this short introduction, Dr. William Kalema to come and give some welcome remarks. After that, Jane from the FID or DFID will come and make some remarks, and later on we'll get Hugh from AECF to talk about what is AECF, what is that window, what are the objectives, what are we expecting, the private sector, what can we get out of that. And then we'll have our guest of honor from Ministry of Energy, the Commissioner in charge of Renewable Energy, Mr. Godfrey Daula, representing the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, to tell us about government policy and what is going on in the country and how we, the private sector, can be able to benefit from that policy. That will crown it, and then we'll go to much more details, and it will take us up to 8:45, and we should be able to go. So we are delighted to see you, and we believe the private sector is the engine of development, of economic development in any country. So that's why AECF is here launching the React window. Dr. Kalema, come and tell us and welcome our guests.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm here in my capacity as Vice Chairman of the Investment Committee of AECF, the Africa Enterprise Challenge Fund, and I'm very pleased to be able to welcome all of you on behalf of AECF. AECF is one of the recommendations that came out of the Commission for Africa, of which I was a member. It was reported 5 years ago. Seems like a long time now. Among the recommendations relating to the private sector was the setting up of the AECF, and the initial target was just $50 million, but we shall soon be at 100, and maybe even we may go even higher. I'm glad to say that Hugh was one of those behind the idea who managed to push it and get it implemented. And in a new life, he is now with KPMG, who are managing the AECF. And Mr. Isingoma is here on behalf of KPMG, who are doing an excellent job of managing the AECF. Challenge funds are, I think by now, many of you must have logged on and checked what is involved. The challenge funds are basically that. There's a pot of money. There may be 20 good ideas, but if there's only enough money for 5, it's the top 5 that get funded. So it is an element of competition. Results are not guaranteed. And this mechanism tends to bring out the most innovative and the most credible proposals, and it's the difficult task of us, the members of the investment committee, to select from sometimes among very good competing projects. We were chosen because we're all quite independent individuals, and collectively we're totally independent of DFID, which is a major funder of AECF, along with the Dutch government, the Australian government, and a few others, but primarily DFID is a major funder. We make our decisions independently of management, independently of the donors, and our role is to ensure there's credibility in the process. And I can speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think so far we've managed to do that. I don't want to steal Hugh's thunder, because there's a presentation which will introduce everything and cover everything. But maybe I can just say I have known Hugh for over 15 years, maybe even longer than that, when he was heading DFID's private sector office for East Africa. And we worked together on the deregulation project, where we worked to remove red tape and various obstacles in the way of business. And so I know you'll soon get to know him as this window rolls out in Uganda. I'd also like to publicly acknowledge Jane Rintoul, who represents DFID. DFID has had a long history of supporting the private sector in this region, and not always going for the obvious ways of supporting the private sector. You may also know that DFID owns, on behalf of the British government, owns CDC. CDC owns 60% of the shares in DFCU, and the majority, if not all the shares in Umeme. So there's also that quite independent funding window. So DFID is very much involved in the private sector, and we appreciate what they're doing. Without further ado, I'd like to request the head of DFID in Uganda to make her remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to have some good PR from our partners in country. Thank you very much, William. My name's Jane Rintoul. I'm the head of the DFID office here in Uganda. And I'd just like to make some remarks about the competition that's being launched today. Honourable Minister of State for Energy, members of the development partners and diplomatic missions, leading representatives from business, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of the Africa Enterprise Challenge Fund Renewable Energy and Adaptation to Climate Technologies competition. I've been in Uganda for a little more than a year, but you don't have to be here for very long to appreciate that Uganda's climate is naturally variable and susceptible to floods and drought. Studies indicate that the impact of human-induced climate change is likely to increase temperatures by 1.5 degrees centigrade in the next 2 decades. As a result, Uganda is likely to see changes in the frequency and severity of extreme climatic events and changes in rainfall patterns. There are 2 challenges presented by this. The first is that Uganda's population, in particular the rural population, desperately needs clean forms of energy for its primary and productive needs. A green growth path requires clean energy and innovative solutions that bring affordable clean energy to the rural poor. The second is that Uganda's farmers, of whom the majority are smallholders, will need solutions to help them cope with climate variability and to reverse declines in agricultural output which result from climatic stress. Challenge funds are a proven instrument in stimulating private sector innovation. They have been increasingly used by the UK government over the last 5 years. Their comparative advantage is their ability to be a powerful, lean and light-touch funding instrument that stimulates the private sector to test new ways of working where the returns and risks are unknown. A well-known example of this is the development of the M-Pesa system of mobile transfer of money, which was initially funded through a similar challenge fund mechanism. The UK government, through DFID, has made substantial investment in the Africa Enterprise Challenge Fund since its inception. The total commitment to date is approximately $60 million. Rural economies in this region are built on agriculture, and the core focus of the AECF in the past has been to harness innovations in agribusiness to create better access to markets, better inputs, and stronger value chains that benefit the rural core. I'm very pleased to let you know today that the UK government is increasing its support to the Africa Enterprise Challenge Fund by providing the first round of funding of $16.5 million for its new special funding window on renewable energy and adaptation to climate technologies. Special competition will have a direct impact on the rural core by boosting smallholder productivity, mitigating against the effects of climate change on agriculture, increasing access to renewable energy sources, and creating new jobs. The objective is to harness private sector innovation and leverage private sector capital to help lift thousands of Uganda's small-scale farmers out of poverty. The AECF has leveraged over $100 million of private sector capital so far, 3 times the amount contributed by donor funds. I wholeheartedly encourage other development partners to join this exciting initiative. And today, I want to challenge the Ugandan private sector to respond to this opportunity with enthusiasm, imagination, and innovation. And I wish you all the very best in the competition. Thank you very much.
I haven't got enough hands. I want one hand for the mic, I want one hand to do these, and I want another hand so I can hold a glass of water to keep me going. However, good morning everybody and welcome. Minister of State, welcome. Head of DFID, welcome. We're delighted, and William of course, we're delighted to be with you here this morning. I always like to try to get to know my audience because it helps me when I'm speaking to you. So if all of those of you are here who are in the for-profit private sector, would you please raise your hand? That's great. Would the rest of you like to leave now? This event is for the private sector, but of course those of you from governments are most welcome. The government's role in putting in a business environment in place for the private sector is absolutely crucial. But this particular fund, I'm afraid, is not available for you. It's not available also to the not-for-profit sector. But I'm delighted that, in fact, when I asked that question, the majority of the hands in the room went up. Another thing just before I start, I'm not an expert in renewable energy and climate change issues. These are new to us at the AECF. We've traditionally been in agribusiness and rural financial services. So I would like to introduce you to Anjali Saini, who is standing there. And Anjali has recently joined us as our renewable energy expert. So if you ask any difficult questions, I'm just going to pass them sideways to Anjali. Anjali, it's great to have you with us. We've been on the road for the last 10 days. We've done a roadshow around Tanzania. We've been in Mwanza, we've been in Arusha, we've been in Mbeya, we've been in Dar. We did a launch in Nairobi with the Prime Minister. We were in